Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Juan the Yarn Addict, and I am here to show you a tutorial on my ribbed ombre scarf that I've featured in previous videos. I've gotten a lot of requests for this, so here is the tutorial. This is a 6-row repeat. Here are the 6 rows right here. And this particular scarf repeats a total of 7 times for 42 rows. And then there is one exception, the 7th rotation. What we do here is, instead of the popcorn stitches on the last row, we substitute with double crochets. And then at the very end, we do 2 rows of single crochet to just give it some structure. So this is the scarf. No color changes were done on my part. Everything you're looking at here came straight out of the ball of Lion Brand Ombre, Mandala Ombre to be more specific. This is another colorway, obviously. This particular colorway that I have featured in the videos, this is called Cool. This one here is called Harmony, and the gradient is literally all shades blue, which is pretty awesome. And I do have another one here, and this particular colorway is blue, but it also has the other colors fused in there as well. This colorway is called Mantra. So this particular project here does require 2 balls of this yarn here. So Lion Brand Mandala Ombre yarn. It does require 2 of these. Depending on how large you would like to go with this project, you may need a 3rd ball. So just to be on the safe side, I would highly recommend getting 3 balls. And then with whatever's left, you have free reign to make a matching cap, whatever you'd like. So without further ado, we're going to get started on this tutorial. Okay guys, so for the purposes of this tutorial, I am going to be using Premier's Just Yarn. I actually picked this up at Dollar Tree for $1.25. It's 153 yards. It is a 4-weight, and it does call for an I-9 hook. I love this yarn. I have mentioned this in previous videos, but I figured the dark background with the light yarn, it's going to be great. But I wanted to show you what the first 6 rows look like. So before we get into the tutorial, I just wanted to show you this, a few things I wanted to point out to you so you're aware of what's going on. So for every row, regardless of what the stitch is in that said row, every row starts off with 3 double crochets, every row, and it ends with 3 double crochets. If you're left hand or right hand, does not matter. We begin and end with 3 double crochets on either side for your first and for your last stitch. The other thing that I'd like to point out is in the middle, you're going to hear me use the word apex. So that's referring to the peak. Every row is the same in terms of double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. That's the pattern for the entire project, with the exception of the last row where we have single crochets. And I'm going to pull this project back and show you the last row here where we have a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, that's the only difference. But every row, if you can see there, it gets a double, chain 2, double all the way down. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys so you're aware. And without further ado, we are going to get started. And I am using my Prim 6mm J-hook with this yarn. And to start, you want to create your slip knot. And once you have your slip knot, you're going to chain 4. Okay, and then now you want to insert your hook into the first chain. Grab your yarn and do a slip stitch. Pull some tension there, and what happens is the circle will start to form. Now what you want to do is grab your tail between your middle finger and your thumb and pinch your circle here on the side, just so it doesn't go crazy. And then the next thing you want to do is chain 2. Okay, so for row 1, you're going to do 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. The next step is you want to do 2 chains. And now you want to do 4 more double crochets in that circle. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's what this is looking like. Another thing I want to point out is for every row, when you start your row, it's going to be a chain 2. When you end your row, it's going to be chain 2 and then turn your work for every single row throughout this whole entire project. Again, with the exception of the last row where when we do single crochets, it's chain 1, turn your work. But for right now, it's chain 2 and we're going to turn our work. Okay, so for row 2, we're going to be doing double crochets again. Okay, so as I mentioned in the beginning here, we want to do 3 double crochets in that first stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And now we want to do a double crochet in there, and in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of that. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and that's what this should look like so far. So now we're at the apex. We're here. And as I said in the beginning, every row gets the same thing, which is a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Okay, so now we're on the other side. And what we want to do here is a double crochet here, here, and here. So those 3 stitches, get a double crochet. Okay, so here we are. We're at the last stitch. And if you look at the top, you have a V here. And of course you have your chains. They don't count for anything. They're just row builders. But what we're paying attention to is this right here. So what we want to do is insert our hook into that stitch and do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so, and if it's not perfect, don't worry. As the rows grow, it will form a mind of its own and fall right into place. So at this point now, what we should have are 7 double crochets on each side with a chain 2 in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So regardless of what it looks like, we're balanced on either side. Okay, and obviously you shouldn't have to count your stitches for all 42 rows. If you follow the principle that I laid out, which is 3 double crochets on the beginning and on the end here, and then at your apex you do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, everything will fall into place and you'll be perfectly fine. Okay, so now we're gonna chain 2 and turn our work. Okay, so for this particular row, we are going to do front post double crochets. We're going to create the ribbing for this side here. This is actually going to be our front side. This is going to be our back side. Let me get that out of there. Okay, so as I said, first and last stitch, get what? 3 double crochets in the first stitch. So even though this is a front post double crochet row, every row gets 3 double crochets in the beginning. Okay, and so now what we want to do is for the remaining stitches here, all these double crochets, are going to get front post double crochets. Okay, so meet me when we get to the apex. I'm going to show you one, maybe two, and then we'll go forward from there. So you're going to insert your hook around that double crochet, front, back to front. And then what you're going to do is your normal double crochet. Just go around that double crochet from the previous row and do a normal double crochet, and that's kind of what you want it to look like. All right, we'll do one more. Okay, and then meet me at the apex. Okay guys, so here we are at the apex, and as every row indicates, we are going to double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Okay, and so now what we need to do is front post double crochets for the remainder of the row, obviously with the exception of the last stitch, which, as we know, gets 3 double crochets. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Okay. Okay, so here we are at the last double crochet here. So what we need to do is insert 3 double crochets in the last stitch here. Okay, so this is how we're looking so far. Okay, and again, don't worry about the shape, it'll all fall into place as it's supposed to. So let's do a quick stitch count. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Okay, so we're even. The next thing we need to do is chain 2 and turn our work. So chain 2, and we're turning our work, and this is the front side, and this is how we're looking so far. I can only imagine, if you're using the ombre yarn, how that ribbing is going to look. Nonetheless, this still looks amazing too. Okay, so here we are to begin row 4. So for row 4, it's going to be the double crochet, chain 1, skip 1. But first and foremost, same as every other row, what we need to do is make sure that we insert our hook into the first stitch and the last stitch and give those stitches 3 double crochets. So let's take care of that. 1, 2, and 3. So now what we need to do is chain 1, skip 1. So we're going to skip there and go to this stitch right here. Chain 1, skip 1. Let's go ahead and go into there. Give that a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1. Chain 1, skip 1. These rows go very quick, which makes it nice. Okay, so here we are. We did chain 1, skip 1 all the way up. Now what I'm going to tell you is you're going to chain 1 and you're going to skip that stitch and go right into the apex. Okay, and it's going to look like that. Let me get some more yarn here. Okay, so now you're going to chain 2 and you're going to go back into your apex and give it another double crochet. Now, to continue on the other side, you literally just refer back to the side you came from and ask yourself, did I skip the first stitch on this side? If the answer is yes, then you're going to skip the stitch on this side. Okay. If in the future rows, if that's not the case and you end here, you still have to give your apex a double crochet, chain 2 double crochet. Regardless of where you land, you need to make sure that you're giving the apex what it needs, which is double crochet, chain 2 double crochet. So to finish this row 4, we need to skip that first stitch. But before we do that, let's chain 1. and let's skip one. Go into the next stitch after the skipped one and insert a double crochet, chain one, skip one. And we're going to go back down the triangle here. Okay. Okay, so here we are. There's 2 stitches remaining on this row. So we're going to chain one, and then we're going to give the last stitch 3 double crochets. Okay. So that's where we're looking at right now. That's how we're looking. You have your three doubles, and then you have your double crochets here, which you should have 5 on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's looking very nice right now. The next row, row 5, is actually going to be a very easy row. It's double crochets up, double crochets down. Now, you're going to insert your hook into all of these stitches and give it double crochets, but for the chains, you're going to go in the hole and not in the stitch. Okay, so let's go ahead and start row number 5. We're going to chain 2 and turn our work. And we're going to give the very first stitch what we give every row, 3 double crochets. Okay. And if you see a stitch, go ahead and give it a double crochet. Now we're at a chain, so you're going to go in the hole and just do a double crochet. Go in the stitch, give it a double crochet, and then just repeat this pattern all the way up to the apex. So I'll meet you there in one. Okay, so here we are at the apex, and we've given everything a double crochet. Now what we need to do is what we do in every row. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Okay, and now what we need to do is go into that first stitch and give that a double crochet as well, and do that all the way down. Okay, go in the hole for your chains, and then go into the stitch for the stitch from the previous row. Go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you down here at the end. Okay guys, so I have 1 stitch remaining, which is right here. And what we want to do is give that stitch 3 double crochets as we did every row prior. So 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 2 and turn our work for the last row of the repeat. So there's 5 rows here. We don't need the stitch count. We know it's correct. We've stitch counted all of this. Just make sure that your beginning and your end, or if you're right-handed, your beginning or your end, and your end, sorry, all have 3 double crochets, and then your apex has a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Okay? All right, so this last row is your popcorn stitch row. And for this particular row, what we need to do is start in the very first stitch here and give this 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now to do the popcorn, we need to chain 1 and skip 1. And then we're going to go into the second stitch right here. And we're going to give that stitch 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now at the end of your 5th double crochet, what you want to do is you want to pull your needle out and make a big bunny ear. And then you want to insert your needle, your hook, into the very first double crochet. And you want to grab the bunny ear, tighten the tension, and pull into that stitch. That's kind of what you're looking for there. And then you want to lock that into place, just like that. And you want to chain 1. Okay, and then now what we need to do is skip 1. You've already chained 1. You locked it and you chained it. Now you need to skip. So we're doing popcorn stitches in every other stitch here, going up and down the row. So 5 double crochets. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's go ahead and put in a 5th one. Make a bunny ear. Go into that very first double crochet. Grab the bunny ear and pull the tension. And then you're going to go into that very first stitch. You want it to look like that, okay? Let's lock it into place and let's chain 1. That's what that should look like, okay? Let's skip the next stitch and go into the next one with 5 double crochets. Two, 3, 4, and 5. Make a bunny ear, go into that first double crochet, grab the bunny ear and pull the tension. Okay, so that's how that should look. And so far in the row, that's how these 3 popcorns should look side by side. Okay, if there's too much space, there's something wrong there. But when you lay it flat, you want those popcorns touching each other. Okay, so go ahead and work on the rest of this row, and I'll meet you up here at the apex. Okay. Okay, guys. So here we are at the apex. I've locked one in and I've chained one. Right. So obviously, there's nothing else to skip and go into rather. So we're going to have to skip this stitch and go right into the apex and give that a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. And remember, whatever happens on one side has to happen on the other. So we skipped this stitch right here. We're going to need to skip that stitch right there. Just maybe get my pointer there and there. And we're going to go into that hook right there. And we're going to give that 5 double crochets for a popcorn stitch. But before that even happens, what we need to do is chain 1, because that's what we did on this side. So let me get that out of there. Let's chain 1 and skip 1 and go into that second double crochet from the row prior and give that 5 double crochets, please. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Make your bunny ear. Go into the first stitch. Take your hook and grab that bunny ear and pull the tension. That's how that should look. Lock it and chain 1. Now the next step is to just skip the next stitch and go into the next one and give that particular hole there 5 double crochets. Give that stitch 5 double crochets. Make your bunny ear. Insert your hook into that very first double crochet. Grab the ear, pull the tension, and go lock it and chain 1. Okay, let's just go ahead, go into the next one. So, okay, chain 1 and skip 1, go into the next double crochet after, give that 5 double crochets. The pattern's pretty simple. We're just going to go ahead and chain 1, skip 1 after every popcorn. Okay. And let's do that, do this. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at so far. Go ahead and continue on with the rest of the row, making sure that you lock 1, chain 1, and skip 1 in between every popcorn. I'll meet you down here at the end. Okay, guys, so I'm close to the end here, and I just wanted to show you that once you get to the end here and you've locked 1 in and chained 1, you'll see 2 remaining stitches here. So you're going to skip this stitch right here, the one before the end, and then in the last one you're going to insert your hook and give this stitch 3 double crochets. So we're going to do that. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that is the end of the 6-row repeat. Let me just lay it all out here. Okay, so one thing you will notice, okay, is you'll see like an arch here, and that is okay. As I said, as you build it, the pattern will straighten itself out and it'll start to elongate. Like, as you can see, it's already starting to elongate, so it's not your perfect triangle. It's more like that now. Okay, so that is the 6-row repeat. I'm going to show you the next row after this repeat, just to kind of show you what the expectation looks like for getting past these popcorns. Okay, so as is true with every row prior and every row going forward, we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. Now we're back to row 1. Okay, so we're going to give the very first stitch here 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, these next 2 double crochets get a double crochet. Okay, and now in the chain space, we're going to go into the hole and just create a double crochet. Now we're at a popcorn. So you see the little hole here? You want your needle to go in the back and out the front, just like that. You're going to grab that yarn and create your double crochet. Okay, so you're going to turn or wrap the yarn around the hook, go into your popcorn, and create a double crochet. Now you'll see a little bit of a gap. That's okay. That's to be expected, obviously. Okay, so let's go ahead, do a double crochet and then another one in the chain space, and then in the popcorn. It's a little tricky, but we're gonna get it. Go in the chain space and do your double crochets. So if you're noticing the pattern here, you're going to double crochet in the chain, double crochet in the popcorn, in the chain, in the popcorn, in the chain. And you're just going to continue to do that until you get to the apex, which is up here. Okay, so I'm not going to pause. We're going to work through this together so you can watch what it is that I'm doing. So then I'm going to go into the chain space, do a double crochet. Now I'm going to go into my popcorn. Okay, grab my yarn and pull through and make another double crochet. You kind of want to make sure that you're getting inside of that popcorn. Okay, and it does take practice. It's not going to be perfect every time the first time, but with practice it will come. Okay, so here we are. We are approaching the apex. So what we're going to do is double crochet into this stitch before the apex from the previous row. And then we're going to go into the apex, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. And as I said before, whatever happens on this side has to happen on the other side for bounce, or else it'll be a lopsided triangle, and we don't want that. So we're going to insert our hook into this stitch here for a double crochet. And then the pattern that we followed on this side will apply on this side. So what we're going to do is do a double crochet in that chain space, and then a double crochet in the popcorn. Okay, and then you're just going to follow that all the way down. It's pretty simple. Once you get the hang of going into that popcorn, it does take some practice because you got to feel it out and know how to angle your hook to grab it. But once you get it, you're fine. Okay. All right. So now we're approaching the end. What we're going to do, there's 3 stitches left. Double crochet, which we're going to do that now. Okay. And then in the last one, as I've stated every other row prior, we're going to do 3 double crochets. Okay. And so let's turn back to the front. And so there it is. That's the beginning of the second round of repeats. Okay, so you're going to repeat this according to my pattern. You're going to repeat this a total of 7 times, but if you want to make it bigger, repeat more if you'd like. If you want to make it smaller, repeat less if you'd like. The options are endless. But the one thing that I will tell you is just make sure that you're doing your 3 doubles on the beginnings and the ends, and that you're doing the double crochet, chain 2 double crochet here. Now, once you approach the end of your project, okay, it's very simple. All you need to do is, let me flip this back around. Let's just say we're at the end of the project, okay? We're going to imagine here that I've already had 42 rows completed. We're going to just chain 1 and flip our work. And then in this very first stitch here, we're going to give it 3 single crochets. Just like that. And then we're going to single crochet all the way down the row there. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the apex, okay? Let me just do a couple here on the camera, just so you guys can see single crochets being done. I'm sure at this point you guys know what they are and how to do them. Okay, so there's what that looks like so far. Go ahead and continue, and I'll meet you up here. Okay, guys, so I completed the row here, or I'm sorry, I completed the side of single crochets, okay? Again, we're imagining that we're at the end here. Okay, so for the apex, we're going to do single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, just like that. And then we're going to continue doing single crochets all the way down the side, okay? So I'm going to pause, and I'm going to meet you down here at the end. Okay, guys, so here I am at the end, and we're going to give this particular stitch 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now to go to the next row, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Okay. And in the very first stitch here, we are going to give this stitch here 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then for every stitch after that, we're going to give it a single crochet. Okay. And we just continue here. I will meet you at the apex. Okay, guys, so what we want to do, I'm at the apex, and what we're going to do is do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, and then we're going to continue doing single crochets down this side of the project. Just continue doing single crochets and I'll meet you down at the bottom. Okay guys, so here I am at the end. We have one more stitch remaining, this one right here. We're going to give that 3 double crochets. I'm sorry, 3 single crochets. What's the matter with me? Sorry. Okay. All right, so that's the end of the project once you've reached the amount of repeats you want to do for your project. Okay, and so the last 2 rows of single crochets should typically look like that. So what we need to do now is, what I like to do is I chain like this, and then what I do, I grab my scissors and let's go ahead and make a long tail just like that, and then I pull the needle through and tighten the knot there so it looks like that. And we're going to weave in our ends. And when it comes to weaving in the ends, ladies and gentlemen, we want to make sure that we catch the fibers. Back in my day, as I was learning this, I would just go in and out like this and think that, oh yeah, I'm weaving in my ends. Well, yeah, so it kind of fell out after a period of time. So yeah, I learned the hard way that we need to make sure we catch the fibers. So what I'm doing here is I fold this over the needle like this, keep my fingers pinched, and insert the yarn in that hole there. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is just try to get in the middle of the fibers as I'm doing this. This will ensure that it does not come out. Okay, just go in about an inch, a little over an inch, okay? And then just pull your needle through. Make sure that you don't pull too tight. You want your project to stay flat, right? And then it's called a Z format, I guess. I don't know what it's really called, but I'm calling it the letter Z. So I'm going to go in, just like that. And each time I try to grab new fibers. And it doesn't have to be an inch each time, but you do want to do a zigzag. That was the word I was looking for. Zigzag. Okay. And each time you want to make sure you're grabbing fibers. Okay. And so that's kind of what needs to happen to lock your yarn in place. Then you're going to take your scissors and cut. And the end is woven in, sorry. And for this, in the very beginning, it's one of the last things I do. I tug on this to tighten that hole. Just pull on it like that. And then I snip that because we did stitches over and around. So this is a mini-me version of the larger project. And so yeah, let's go to the front. And you see the ribbing there. And these beautiful popcorn stitches. They're amazing. We love them. Okay, and let's take another look at the finished product right here. If you're using the mandala ombre, this is kind of how the rows are going to look. Lots of texture. It's giving me everything that I need. Yep. Okay. So that wraps up this tutorial. And yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you liked this tutorial, please hit like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And I'll just continue creating these tutorials and get better each and every time. So that's it. Thank you. And until the next one, have an amazing day. Bye, guys.